Okay, I guess screen visible, yeah. So this is basically the fourth session with deep learning, into which today we'll be going to talk about the activation function in a whole, and we'll be going to talk about the storing format. That firstly you have created a model, and if you have created a model, how to basically store it. So obviously a model would take more than at least 5 minutes, right? So if your model is taking more than 5 minutes, you shouldn't wait for 5 minutes all the time. Instead, your model should be stored at some place, and you just need to call the model file, and by calling the model file you will be able to create make the predictions out of it. And obviously in the commercial scale it is not just 5 minutes, it is more than even 5 days, and sometime more than a week or so. So we need to very much sure about how to store the model, and it is very much required to store the model once trained, because training will take lot many days even, or lot many hours, or lot many minutes. And then if you lose the model into it, if you just forget to save the model, you will land up into wastage of time again. There will be no sense of making the training, because when you close the file, your everything will be lost, because everything else, the variables would get stored into the temporary variables, temporary memory, and you need to save it into the permanent memory by creating a file of some particular format and some particular structure. With that, you will be this particular day you will be talking about that how to store a particular model, what will be the format, what will be the way, and all that stuff, and how to basically reuse the model, reuse the stored model. Then we'll be talking about the basic introduction of CNN if the time permits. So let's move on to the activation functions firstly. How many activation functions you are aware of? So this is question for both of you. Which all activation
Tanh,
functions you are aware of? Tanh, okay.
ReLU, sigmoid,
ReLU, sigmoid, okay.
and एक ReLU का एक और भी फॉर्म होता है. I don't remember the.
Leaky ReLU, parameterized ReLU.
Yeah.
Okay, what about you, Raghunathan?
Same as well, sir.
Okay, what do you know about these particular activation functions? Like,
The
what is the
graphs.
difference? Sorry?
The graphs.
Okay, the graph is one thing, but the question is, what is so special about each one of them? Like,
Sigmoid ranges from 0 to 1, and if it's greater than 0.5, then the answer is 1, and if it's less than 0.5, the answer gets 0.
okay, so what will happen with that? Okay, I'll
This,
not torture you much. Wait. That's my part. I will discuss. I was just trying to make it an interactive one, so I'll not torture you much. Well, let's start with the very basic logical function. What is the purpose of activation function? What is the purpose of activation function? I started torturing you again. Fine. What is the purpose of activation function?
Whether the node will fire or not. It's
Right.
based
So,
on
so the node will fire or not. Now, what if I can just give something like this on my graph? Okay, suppose it's a kind of perfectly created line. This is the difference. Okay, sorry. What time doing? Now anything before that would be not fired, and anything after that would be not fired. Would be fired. Sorry. This particular thing, this particular sort of activation function is a valid activation, but it always, every activation function has some pros and cons. So let's talk about this one and what it is known as and what is the basic intuition behind it. So this activation function is nothing different than a binary activation, which is having a graph of something like this. I'll draw it with a different color. It will be having a graph of something like this, 0 till this, still on 0 till this, then a sudden hike, and 1 after this. Okay, so this is 1, and this is as like visible 0. So it is having a kind of separation plane, just like your marks. So if you are having 34 marks, then you are passed. If you are having 33 or less than 33, then you are failed, something like this. This is a kind of step function. This is one of the first most basic activation function we need to talk about. take your copy pen out and start writing this, because this is something you need to know for entire of your deep learning. We'll be talking about this. So this is one of the most basic activation function known as step function. Okay. What is the range of this particular activation function? What it can return? It can either return you 0 or it can return you 1. So it will return you among 0 and 1 included. Okay. So this is what it is returning, 0 or 1. Simply it's not even about brackets, so I'll just write there 0 or 1, nothing even in between. Now what is the positiveness of this particular step function? It is very simple. Simple to implement, fastest to be executed, and all that complexity stuff is so easy. Not even complex for human, not even complex for machine to be executed. Now what is wrong? Why can't we use this? Instead of this we are using sigmoid ReLU and all that. What's wrong about it? Think of it basically.
It's not continuous.
What will happen with that? You are
Like if I
perfectly
have a
right.
value between 0 or 1, like if I have 0.7, so it can
Okay.
be marked on.
Right. It cannot be continuous, so it cannot be used for regression part, first thing. Second thing, it is only and only having binary classes. Okay. So if you want to classify between dog and cat, it can work, it might work. And if you want to classify between dog, cat and horse, this particular thing will not work at all. This is only for binary classes, because there is no class number 2 right here, and this can never be achieved like in this way. No, it is not possible. The step function is still 2 layers only, 0 layer and 1 layer. So this is only and only for binary classification, not even complete classification and nothing for regression. So it is for binary classification. Okay, benefits are good to use, fastest to use, easy to understand, good to start with. Loss is it doesn't make any sense when it comes to regression, and it doesn't make any sense when it comes to the usage for multi-class classification. Now another thing come up for the continuous part. Let's delete this whole. Not getting deleted. So another thing came up, which is a linear function, linear activation function, which is on the both side of axis. Okay, and let me draw this with green color. It is something like this, simple straight line. Okay, so this is a linear function which is having all the values between all the continuous value. Multi-classification is also possible with this, multiple value regression is also possible with this, and it is a continuous data. So it has point for every particular unit, continuous point. Now what is the advantage and what is the disadvantage? Guess something about this.
All the outputs can be marked on.
Sorry?
All the outputs can be marked on it.
Yeah, that is the advantage part. And what is the disadvantage? Okay, so let's compare something of between machine learning and deep learning. In machine learning, we have an equation of something like this: y is equals to mx. Write it in capital or small, your choice, and b. This is a basic machine learning equation, and this is a linear equation. And what deep learning is? A lot of neurons on first layer, lot of neurons on second layer right here, lot of neurons on third layer, lot of neurons on fourth layer, and then 2, 3, 4, 5 or n number of neurons in the output layer. Now we are not talking about linear stuff. If we use this linear function, that means first layer will something like this will become that second layer would be the linear function of first, which in turn third layer would be the linear function of second, fourth layer would be the linear function for third, and fifth layer would be the linear function for fourth. So at the end, if you will calculate something like this in the nested manner, you will find fifth layer is directly the linear function of first. So there is no sense of stacking layers into it. Okay, so it doesn't make any sense of providing non-linearity in the data or in the model. Your final model would in the end just be a linear function of your inputs. It wouldn't be having any sense of having different layers stacked after each other. Now, if I talk about the possible values of this activation function, possible outputs, it ranges all the way from minus infinity to plus infinity. Something like this. Okay, this is the range. Like advantages, simple to achieve, faster, and another thing is that it is having a linear curve, so it can give you continuous outputs as well. Disadvantage that it only provides linearity into the data or into the model. There is no module for non-linearity into this neural network. Is this thing clear? Should we move on to the next activation function?
Yeah.
Raghunathan?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so the next one is an important one and the most common one, which is sigmoid. So how a sigmoid graph looks like? It is on the positive side, first quadrant, and the graph looks something like this. Okay, this is the basic sigmoid graph, how it looks like. Now if you can see that, or rather should I draw it more precisely? Something like this a sigmoid looks. Okay, what is the benefit of using sigmoid and what is the, okay, so simple enough. Firstly tell me what will be the range of sigmoid, what could be the possible outcomes from sigmoid. This is 1 and this is 0, so it will converge at this point and it is converging at this particular point. What will be the benefit of, or what will be the possible outcomes from sigmoid?
0 or 1.
0 or 1. So what is this particular value? Is this 0 or is this 1?
0.5. But if it's
Yeah, like
greater
0.345. Okay.
if it's greater than 0.5, it will give 1.
That is when you use sigmoid for your custom application, but otherwise sigmoid can give you all the things between 0 and 1. So I am using this particular parenthesis right here in order to explain everything between 0 and 1. So all the values right here. So just think of your fan. Okay, your fan can operate from 0 speed and some n unit speed, but it doesn't operate on all the speeds between 0 to n. It operates either on regulator level 1 or 2 or 3 or 4 or 5. So there are maximum of 4 or 5 or maximum of 10 different modes of operation of a fan. Okay, we set it through a regulator, fan regulator. Right. So that is the external part, but the motor can work all the way from 0 to the maximum possible speed. This is what sigmoid can give you. It will give you all the value. It can give you all the value from 0 to 1. Fine. Now coming to the advantages of using sigmoid. If you clearly view the sigmoid function, I'll redraw everything. I just need the sigmoid graph here to focus on. That's right. Now this particular point is having greatest slope. That means the derivative right here. Why are we basically using activation function? In order to improve our neural network in various aspects, and when we come for the back propagation to update our weights and all, at that moment of time our neural network gets converged by using the gradient descent concept, which we talked about. So we need a derivative. Now what do I mean with this? You will get to know about this very soon. So right here what I am saying is a single change in x is constituting big change in y. Do you agree to me on this? Slight change from here to here. Okay, the change in y turns out to be this one, comparatively larger. A single change in x, suppose I give you 1 unit change in x, it will give me something like 4 to 5 units change in y. Okay, because this is the point and this is the point. So this is the height. Just for this much. What does this signify? What is this pattern? How this pattern is useful actually? So this pattern is useful to say that what sigmoid does, it basically tries to put the things on either of the end. Whether like right here 1 unit change will give you 4 units change in y, but right here 1 unit change, the similar 1 unit change in x will not give you even half of the unit change in y. Right, so let's suppose this is our working metric. So right here if I execute this metric somewhat from point this to this, I get a gap from right here to here. But if I do the same thing at this point, it is giving me this point and this point, just a smaller gap. What it is trying to do, it is trying to put complete of the data or the prediction on either side of the sigmoid, either end of the sigmoid, either this end or this end. So it basically has a property of making classification on almost everything. So if you will get to stick right here, it will push you towards this. If you are right here, it will push you towards this. This is what sigmoid used to do, and that is why it is being used for classification, and it introduced good amount of nonlinearity into data, right? And the formula for using this is, the mathematical formula is 1 upon 1 plus e raised to power minus x, where x is the input. So whatever I give the value of x, I'll get the value of y corresponding to this formula, where e is that logarithmic, inverse of logarithm. Now I hope this thing is clear, that what is the mathematical function behind sigmoid. What does sigmoid do? It basically being used for classification. It is one of the major things which is being used for classification with this particular formula. And why it is used for classification? Because it has a tendency of pushing the things on extreme rather than keeping the things on a mid dilemma. I hope this is clear.
Yes.
Is this clear? Yeah. Raghunathan, is this clear now? You had a doubt on sigmoid activation
Can you
function?
explain? I didn't get
Yes.
clear.
Can I explain what?
Sigmoid, sir. Fully.
Okay, I'll explain sigmoid again. Let me just delete everything. I'll explain it again. So I have a graph into which my sigmoid curves will look something like this. Okay, now that means, okay, equivalent on this side and on this side, just fine. Now what I mean with this is, what the sigmoid graph is showing, that if you'll change single unit into this region, the centric region, or rather I'll take much bigger picture from this region to this region, it will penalize you a lot in terms of y. So single change in x will give you some around 4 or 5 times change in y, whereas if you make the changes into this region, after this or before this, then you will not be penalized much. So a single unit change into x will not be significant amount of change in y, right? So what is this being used for? What is the benefit of using this? That this particular activation function, this particular type of activation function is very good for classification, because it pushes the things on the extreme left or on the extreme right. It gives you the extremities of your choices, so we can use it for classification. It tries that whole of your data should either reside into this part or into this part, and it is represented with the equation 1 upon 1 plus e raised to power minus x. This is what the formula of sigmoid looks like, right? Is this thing clear, Raghunathan?
Yes, sir. I have one doubt.
Yeah.
If your output is like between 0 and 1, exactly like 0.5, it tells whether it shows output of 0 or 1.
Okay, that is completely up to us what we write for sigmoid, but sigmoid doesn't give a kind of filtered value. We get the value and we take it as a kind of classification amongst that. Okay, so if you are working on actually 0.5, it can turn out to 1 or to 0 depending on what particular version of sigmoid you are using. Sklearn would be having one sort of way, Keras would be having another sort of way, if you have made sigmoid by your own using this formula, okay, then it can have any sort of way you want to go for. Okay, so that's completely the choice of implementation, but the sigmoid doesn't have any choice into it. Sigmoid will give you 0.5 exactly. If it is 0.99, then it will give you 0.99 exactly.
Okay.
Okay, any other doubt?
No.
Fine. Try to think that what is wrong with this activation function. What is the disadvantage of using activation function?
It might decrease the accuracy क्योंकि अगर let's say there are a lot of results that are not 0 but are between 0 and 0.5, they'll be
Okay,
made 0. So
there will be
they'll be 0, like the result will be 0 for that, na? So अगर
no, just don't compare it with a step function. Step function was this, and okay, straight rather. This was step function. So everything below 0.5 is 0 and everything after 0.5 is 1. This is not a step function. Do not mix and match it with that one.
So disadvantages is that it's not used for multi-class. I think so. For classification.
It can be used for multi-class. It can be used, but okay, yeah, it is not very much good for multi-class, that I agree. Anything else from your side? Okay, so the biggest disadvantage lies right here into this region, right here and right here. Okay, I'll just erase everything else apart from the graph. Now this region and this region, the problem is known as vanishing gradient problem, that when gradient descent will come back to make changes into this, then what will happen? The stronger part right here will keep on becoming more and more and more and more stronger. The weaker part will keep on becoming more and more weaker. There will be no change into the intensities of these neurons. What will be going to happen with this is, because gradient is always a function of value. Okay, it is a kind of depending function over the value. So your value will not let this particular stuff change significantly, no matter how many times gradient descent you will be using. And the stronger part right here will keep on becoming stronger and stronger and stronger. So a slight change right here will make big impact, whereas the same amount of change right here will not make any big impact. That is what the problem is, that this particular thing is causing the steepness of the curve right here and causing the problem of vanishing gradient. This is known as the problem of vanishing gradient. You can read more about the vanishing gradient just by searching it on Google. So what is vanishing gradient problem? Is a difficulty found in training neural network with gradient based learning method. So what will be going to happen with this is that your model will basically stop at one moment of time. So it will not going to be converged more about it. Now another thing come up, that is for that I'll be going to erase everything. That is known as tan H. So tan H is something different. This was ReLU, whereas tan H is something like this. It is also known as extended ReLU. Okay, so it is same as ReLU, but its center point is not 0.5, it is 0, and it starts halfway below the 0 and halfway above the 0. This is something like tan H looks like. The one displayed right here is sigmoid, and this one is tan H. Okay, what was the function of sigmoid? 1 upon 1 plus e minus x. And what is the function of tan H? 2 upon 2 upon 1 plus e minus 2x completely, and -1 like after this. Okay, so what does this mean? It is something, a kind of scaled sigmoid. It is also known as scaled sigmoid. So tan h is nothing different from sigmoid. It has the same advantage and same disadvantage. The extra thing added is that its value is ranging from -1 to 1 instead of 0 to 1. And what is going on? The change in the value, the change in the gradient in the central part now is more even more stronger. This part now it is even more kind of standing rather than this, comparatively more strong. Now let's talk about the formulas of tan h and sigmoid. Sigmoid was 1 upon 1 plus e minus x, and tan h is 2 upon, so there is something like 2, then right here -1, and below that 1 upon e minus 2 x, something like this. Now can I just leave this -1 part as it is and this 2 part also as it is, so it is something like 2, somewhat here -1, and can I replace this whole part, like this particular denominator part, with something like sigmoid 2 multiply sigmoid of 2x? Just confirm me whether can I or not. Just look at the formula of sigmoid for 2x. Sigmoid for x is this, sigmoid for 2x will be having 2 right here. So can I say that tan h is 2 multiply sigmoid 2x minus 1?
Yeah.
At last it is 1. I didn't get any answer.
Yeah, you can.
Right, so sigmoid 2x will be giving me this denominator part 1 upon 1 plus e raised to power minus 2x, and the 2 will be as it is, and -1 at the last would be as it is. So tan h is nothing different than a scaled sigmoid, same use cases, same advantages and same disadvantages. Right, let's talk about another different stuff, which is ReLU. Now ReLU looks something like this. Again, it is a kind of into 4 quadrants. This is how ReLU looks like. Okay, what could be the possible function for this? What will be the formula of this? What could be the formula of this? Just try to think of it. Do not Google. Let me make text for you. So it is 1, 2, 3, 1, 2.
I think it will have 2 parts. Like for x
It will have 2 parts. Okay.
x greater than 0.
Okay, it would be having something like this definition. Okay, as we used to see in the calculus part in 9th, 10th class. So it will be 0 for x
Less than 0.
less than equals to, okay, I'll draw it a bit more on the left. It will be 0 for x less than equals to 0. And what is the second part?
Mx plus c. For
Mx
x
plus c. So
greater
m is 1 because it is changing 1 unit. So this is 1, this is 1, this is 1, and c is 0. So mx plus c will basically become x because c is 0, so it will become mx, and m is 1. So y will be basically x this time. Okay, so if you are 0 or less than 0, then your output would be 0. If you are 1, then your output would be 1. I just drew the text with some human error. If you are 2, then your value would be 2. If you are 3, then your value would be 3, and so on for 4, 5, 6. Now this particular stuff has been compiled in the form of max of 0 comma x. So if 0 is maximum, that means we are talking about any negative term, then 0 is the output. If x is maximum, that is any positive term, then x is the output. If x is 0, that means both the things are same, then maximum would also be 0. So 0 and below that it is 0, and above that it is x. Okay, is this thing clear that from where this particular come? So this thing what you gave me and this thing what I gave you. So this is the general formula and this is the expanded formula for the same. Okay, so now this is ReLU architecture which can give you value. What will be the value of, what could be the possible outcomes from this ReLU architecture?
Zero to
What?
infinity.
0 to infinity. Anything into negative?
No.
No, right. So basically what it is doing, it is giving us the value from 0 to all the way to infinity. Okay, and it is not taking any sort of other problem into that. Now it might look like this is a linear graph, it doesn't have any non-linearity, but yes, it introduces non-linearity, and different combinations of ReLU always results in a good amount of non-linear data. So ReLU is a good non-linear data point. Now what is the problem with this one? Okay, one more advantage is that it is comparatively faster because it is simple as linear line. What is the full form of ReLU? What is the full form of ReLU? It is rectified linear unit. What was linear unit? Linear unit was this. No, that's the same line, exactly same line, and even same on the negative. So it is rectified that it took this part to this. So what is the advantage of ReLU? The same advantage as of linear unit. It is comparatively faster than sigmoid than or any other. Okay. Now what is the disadvantage of using this? Cannot hear me? Now can you? Raghunathan, can you hear me?
I didn't
Yes,
hear
sir.
the part after you
Okay.
uh,
Okay. I'll
told the
explain it again.
full form of value.
What I said is that the full form of ReLU is rectified linear unit. Why so? Because linear unit was something like this. Right, you remember, if you remember the second activation function we talked about. Then that linear unit has been modified to give something like this. All the negative would be 0 and all the positive would remain same. So this full form is rectified linear unit. RE stands for rectified, LU stands for linear unit. Now the advantage of ReLU is similar as the advantage of linear unit, that it is faster. Linear unit has the problem of linearness, but it is a nonlinear activation function, and moreover there is a disadvantage of using ReLU, and we have just discussed that disadvantage in the previous activation function. Try to think of it, what it could be. Anyone?
The gradient thing.
Exactly, the same thing into sigmoid. So anything on the negative part will lead out to zero gradient change, or zero gradient rather, because gradient itself is a change. So zero gradient, that means no convergence after this. For this particular stuff, some other thing came up into picture which is known as leaky ReLU, Leaky ReLU, and that leaky ReLU is something like this. I will be explaining right here. So positive part is same. Okay, just try to think of it as like straight line. Negative part was earlier a straight line into this, but now it is with some negative slope. Straight right here. Something like this is a leaky ReLU. Okay, now it is having less, like it is, the gradient is not 0 now. The gradient has some value, the gradient has some change, not so significant, but yes, it has some changes. Okay, so your leaky ReLU can also understand the negative parts as well now. Okay, is this thing clear? Now leaky ReLU can give all the values between minus infinity to plus infinity. Let's take a recall of all the activation functions we talk about. We
Wouldn't this have
started
a
with,
disadvantage as well?
sorry, I didn't get your voice.
Would this have a disadvantage as well?
Yeah, it also have a disadvantage that again the part, again we are coming up to linear unit part. See right here, the problem is that this gradient is comparatively very lesser, and even if it is not so much. I'll just show you the leaky ReLU graph. I can't type, what's wrong? I don't know, something like this. Okay, it's very steep. Now what is the problem with that is that again the gradient is like very small, not so strong. Let's comparing different graphs. So this is sigmoid, this is ReLU, this is leaky ReLU. Right. So the disadvantage again is that same thing. Now in order to cover the disadvantage, we can come for this part. Okay, and that is the linear unit itself. So it again causes another sort of problem that it is linear now. It have good amount of gradient, but it is linear. So what sort of
Would you know which activation function to use for a
yeah,
model?
that's what I'm coming to. So we have something like step function earlier, then we talked about linear unit, then we talked about sigmoid. Okay, then we talk about tan h. Instead of initials, I would be making the graph right here. So step function was something like this. Then we talk about linear unit. Then we talk about sigmoid. Then we talk about tan h, extended sigmoid basically. And then we talk about ReLU. And then we talk about leaky ReLU. Okay, now what to use when? So this is a simplest one. So it can only and only be used for binary classification. This can be used anywhere, majorly for regression part, but it doesn't give you non-linearity into data. So the regression thing will end up going into machine learning part itself. There would not be any sense of stacking layers and performing the task. A good amount of machine learning algorithm would also be able to get this linear relation. This sigmoid is the major prior choice for classification and this TANH as well. Sigmoid and TANH both are good amount of choices for classification. I'll make them clubbed. For classification of multi-class, this could be for classification of binary class. This is something which is faster enough, so it should be better used into inner layers, not outer layers. So this is something which will be used on the outer layer. This should be used on inner layers. And this is the advanced version of ReLU, so we can also use this onto inner layers, but it is comparatively slower. So instead of this, we better to stick with this one until unless our model is overfitting. So our architecture should be having internal layers, it should be having ReLU. About
Why
external
is it,
layer, it should, sorry,
why is it slower?
why is this slower? Because
Yeah.
why ReLU is faster? ReLU is faster because right here we are talking about a kind of step function plus linear function. So we are using step function till here and linear function after this. It is a mixture of step and linear. Okay, so we are just combining two fastest algorithm, but right here we are having two different slopes. We need to talk about both of them. Every point has some different gradient to talk about. That is why it is comparatively slower. Okay, so into the inner layer we can use any of them. Into the outer layer it depends on our business logic. So if our business logic is to go for classification, we can use this sigmoid. Prefer to go for sigmoid if you are having binary classification. Otherwise there is something known as softmax. What is softmax? Softmax again gives you something like this, or it's also known as soft sign or so. Okay, so softmax again looks like sigmoid, but it makes some impact that it basically distributed the probability of 100 into different classes. So suppose I have 50 classes, okay, and I want to say I'll give you an image. of Okapi. I gave you this example earlier as well. Might be to you or some other person. So what do you say? This will be this is okay. You don't know about Okapi. You just know two kind of animal related to this, which is a horse and a zebra. And another thing could be elephant, rabbit, and all the animals you know about, all the generic animals. So Okapi you don't know about, suppose. Okay. Now if I'll ask you that rate this animal, rate all of the animal according to this image. So my answer would be something like 40% zebra, 30% horse, so 70% is covered. So rest of 2% rabbit, 2% elephant, 2% donkey, 5% giraffe, and so on. Okay. So what my top value is 40% zebra. Then this particular classification will fall under the domain of zebra, right? That means whatever this particular image has given, now there is no maximum value, but there is something like soft maximum. Suppose you go for election, you will talk about election. So you will find like, okay, this party has got 55% vote, this party has got 30% vote, and this party has got 15% vote. So none of them has got 100% vote, but who will win the election? 55, because it has got comparatively major number of votes, comparatively more number of votes. That is what comes up with the softmax part. Okay, so if you are going for multi-classification, we will be using softmax on the outer layer, and if you are going for linear regression or simply regression, we will be using this linear model for the activation on the outer layer. I hope this is clear now. What to use, when to use, how to use, all that thing. What about you, Mehak?
Yes.
Fine. Any doubt into activation functions? When it comes to code, there is nothing to it. You want to use sigmoids, although you can remember that once you write the code by yourself, or maybe 2 times or 3 times, you will remember all of the names. You want to use leaky relu, just simply search for leaky relu into KRS. Simple enough search will give you what to use, how to use, and all that. Might be if not in the first result, in the second result, or so on. Okay, some or the other way you will get it. Right here it is. Activation relu kernel initializer HE uniform, and right here you are using import leaky relu. Even on the Stack Overflow you will find some of the other simplest results. Keras.layers import leaky relu, and it added layer of leaky relu with an alpha of 0.1. So alpha is the intensity on the negative side. Your graph would be something like, it will be having like this, but it should be this one or this one or this one. So that is that how much you want to go for the alpha part, right? So we need to use internal layer. Into internal layer we'll be using relu or leaky relu. Into external layer we can use sigmoid or softmax or linear unit depending on our business use case. Any doubt into activation? Raghunathan, any doubt now? Mehak, any doubt now?
No.
Fine. So let's move on ahead, and coming back to our topic of today, which is we want to discuss about that how to store a particular model which is trained. Have you worked on machine learning and stored a model? Have
No.
you ever stored a model? Okay, not you, Raghunathan. No. Okay. So suppose you are creating a model which is taking 20 minutes to get trained, and I'll show you the real example. Why to worry about like this? So I'll be going up onto the existing file itself. Okay, nothing changed. We have loaded the data, XY split, train test split, model part, and we are printing the accuracy. Okay, this is something we don't need as of now. And now I gave the epoch to be having 100 epochs, batch size would be 2. Let's run this. And now I want to go for model dot predict for x test dot tail. So it will give me last 5 values, or simply 2 last values, and I need to use print function right here. Okay, something wrong I did. So this is what the time I was talking about. Now it is taking 800 or 700 milliseconds per step, but and your ETA is going to be 0 second all the time. But when you actually work on commercial data set, let's see the size of this data. So the data size is nothing different than 23.9 KB. Nothing, actually nothing. Okay. But when you actually work on commercial data, they go all the way to TBs. Okay, at least 5 GB, 6 GB, 10 GB, and if you'll scale up more, you'll work on big data streaming, you'll work on Kafka real-time streaming, you'll work on TBs of data. Then your training time for 100 epoch take more than even 2 to 3 days to get trained. Even right here it took around 5 to 6 minutes. Okay, and it gave me the value 0.67, 0.92. Now what I want, just one second. Yeah, so now what I want the value for, instead of this given value, I want the value for my set of data or anything else. So for that, what else can we do? We need to train it again. Suppose I want it on the last three values, so we need to train it again, but I don't want to do that. What can I do now? I cannot actually do now anything because my file is closed, executed completely and closed, and my model has been lost. But what I could have done, when I have trained the model, I would have saved the model with model.save, give the name of the file, and that would be anything, like I'll name it to be saved model.h5py. This would be the preferred format, or you can name it anything. Okay, and let's see, let's take it to 2 only. So once I execute this, the model will be saved. So now the epoch, you are saying like they are running like anything. One epoch would take more than half an hour or 40 minutes to be trained. When you talk about even 1 GB of data, image data. Okay, if you'll even work on 1 GB of data, one epoch will take half an hour or more to get completed. One epoch. And that even with the batch size of 32 or 64. Batch size of 2 is even way more time taken. Okay, once done, let's see. Right here I have a model with me. Okay, I'll be making another file. I already have it open. Okay, I'll be making model call.py, and what I'll be doing is, let's not make another file. That's bad idea. Let's not make another file. I have all the test data, train data, everything right here. I'll be just commenting out the model part into right here. Okay, now obviously I'll not be having any model.fit, nothing like model.save, nothing like accuracy, no print accuracy. I just can predict it. So what I can name it model loaded or loaded model for betterment. I need a function here which is known as, I want to firstly store what thing into loaded model, load model. This is a function which needs the file name, which is saved model.h5py, and I can predict it for last two. So my value is coming out to be 70.17 and 89.46, and for this I need to call a library which is from keras.model import load model. Okay, it gave me 70.17, 89.46. And what was there? Same, 71.17, 89.46. This is what I get. So this way, now it doesn't go for all the way for epochs and all. It just imported Keras. Importing Keras will give all of things into right here. Okay, it will print a lot of things because on the background a lot of things would be going on. Now I would wait for you to do this and then we will move on. I want you to do this first. So both of you just complete this task and then we will move on. Make your own architecture. Do not copy this architecture. Make your own architecture. Okay, of whatever amount of layers, whatever number of nodes, and then split your data accordingly, and then just try to run your code. Save the model and call it again on another file and try to execute your code. And I hope you have started already. I'll wait for that time. This is the code for reference.
Can you scroll down?
Yeah, it's on the last. It's already last. So it's nothing like model.save, file name, and then later on keras.model, load model, and then load model, file name to be loaded, and where to store the loaded model. I hope you are comfortable with this dot tail function.
What does it do? The tail function?
Tail function will give you last 5 value by default, but if you are using with the parameters, it will give you last that number of values. So tail will give you last 2 values from the database. So from my X test, I am just calculating on last 2 values, and the results of those 2 values are right like this. So one of the value my model predicted 70.17, and for another it predicted 89.4. Now, basically my data set is all about classes. It is not about 0.89 or so. It is about sugar level or sugar class. So there is one thing like predict, or we can use predict classes. So it's better to use predict classes right here because you want to predict class. 70 and 89 both will fall under 1 and 1. It's there. Okay. So you can see that even after sigmoid, I was getting 0.79 or 0.89 or so, because sigmoid didn't work for that. So predict class is something which will turn your sigmoid value according to the class, not sigmoid.
It's showing some error.
Show me the code. Show me the screenshot right here.
One sec.
Have you saved it in the same location where you are working?
Yes.
Can you share your screen? Great, great. So where you have saved, show me the file where it is stored. Okay, your file name is save.h5py and you are calling saved.h5py. Heck, that will work in English, not in Python.
Sorry.
Okay. What about you, Raghunathan? Is it done?
One second, sir. One second. Yes, sir. Done.
Okay, so what you need to do now, both of you, just print your x.tail stuff right here. Okay, so I'll be sharing my screen. I'll be showing you what to do. So right here, we are talking about xtest. So print your xtest dot tail with 1, okay, or with 2 suppose, and execute that. After everything in the last, you are getting these two rows. Just copy paste these two data, okay, and what I want to do is prediction with that data. So predicted values are 1 and 1. What I want to do is I need to copy paste this data. Okay, not getting the copy paste like this. Okay, some or the other way, make it a kind of list also. Just copy paste this data right here. Okay, when you send it on the Skype to each other, send your model firstly to each other. Both of you send it right here in the group with your name like Mehak model and Raghunathan model. Use cross persons model, use cross persons data, and check whether on your system it is giving the same output or not. That is what basically you need to check. Send your models right here, both of you.
Can you show the code again?
Yeah. So it's nothing different than x test dot tail underscore 2. Sorry, not underscore, bracket 2.
So I have to send that save dot h5py file.
Yeah, you need to send this particular file you have created, the .h5py file. So we got first file. We are not. So Raghunathan, we didn't get your file.
No, 1 second, sir. I am searching.
Okay, we just get a message. My model.
Yeah.
Make it fast.
Yeah.
Okay, Mehak, we didn't even get your last two records. Make a list of last two records and send it right here.
Screenshot.
No values list. Type them manually into Skype and send it. Oh, a lot of noise from your side, Raghunathan. Please put it on mute. These are not all the values. Actually, it's having a dot 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 in between. That means it's not showing all the values. There are actually 8 values right here. So, but what you have sent are only 7.
Yeah, it's showing the same on my terminal as well.
Yeah, because of that dot 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 stuff.
How do I expand it?
So what else can be done is that, wait, what can you do? You can shift your values into a file. Okay, how can you do that? My screen is visible. Yeah, how can you do that? You can say the data frame. So my data frame is xtest dot tail last two values dot to CSV. Which CSV? Transfer data dot CSV. This one. Okay, and this CSV would be saved when I run this file. Right there. So I'll be having two records, last two of mine. Okay, so you can have 582, 43, 12, 9, 121, 171, and all that. So it's your task basically to do that. Make a file of last two records. And similarly for you as well, Raghunathan, make a file of last two records with this particular
Can you
code.
show the last code?
Yeah. Just with the last line. One line will work.
There's a lot of disturbance.
Sorry? I didn't hear you.
There's a lot of disturbance from your side.
From my side? Okay, wait. That's clear now, might be issue
Yeah.
also.
Should I send the file again after adding this line of code?
Send that file, this particular file, transfer data.csv, not code and not
Okay.
even model. Model will remain all the way. Just need to send the data and the model. Okay, same way for you, Raghunathan. Send the data as well. Once you execute this, you will get a file on your system. done, Raghunathan?
Oh yes, sir. I am sending.
Mehak, what you need to do is you need to download the file of Raghunathan and the model sent by Raghunathan. And what you need to do is you need to download the file, CSV file and the model sent by Mehak. Okay. And you need to check whether the same thing executes the same result on your system or not. Yes, you have already sent the saved model, but so Mehak download the file by Raghunathan and Raghunathan download the file by Mehak. Please put it on mute. It's having a lot of noise from the back. I hope you are doing that. What you need to do is you need to load the file. Obviously, complete of that is the test part, or simply like the X part itself. No more XY split, no more train test split. Just pass it directly to your model. So model.predict whatever you named your data. I think that there would come some dimension issues. If there will come, I'll tell you what to do now. Now can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
I
Yes,
said
sir.
just download the models and files sent by other person. Download it. I want to execute it with a cross person. Okay, and load the data file in a Python script. Load the model in a Python script and try to execute them and see whether the result come on your system is exactly same as the result is coming on the other system.
Yes.
What is the progress, guys?
Hello.
Yes, Raghunathan.
Sir, I need to load that another one's file and I want to predict that.
Okay, what you need to do is firstly save both of the files, the data file and the model file at one place. Okay, make new Python file there, then load the data and load the model. How to load the data? It is pt.read.csv. How to load the model? It is that keras.models import load model. In the last it is written, fourth last line, this one. Okay, so when you would be having a model and when you would be having the data, then what you need to do is you need to run the model.predict classes or simply model.predict directly for your data. So model.predict whatever data you have loaded, might be on the name of df or a or b or c or whatever.
Sir, which data set I need to load, sir? I cannot.
The one sent by Mehek, the CSV
Yeah, okay.
the transfer.csv. That is the data you need to load. That is your production inference data. What is this, Mehek? You sent it earlier as well. And what is so
This is
different
the
about
one.
this one?
This is the one that was created by running the other model.
Okay, you created another model. You loaded another
No,
model.
no,
Then why
the
you are still
saved
sending?
model dot h5. Like I have run his model and the output.
Okay, if you have ran his model, then need not to store the file. Need not to store the values into file. Just directly print the values right here.
Yeah,
Type
but
the
it's
values.
the dot dot dot. What?
No, no, no. After running the model, it will not give you dot 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 stuff because it will not be having 8 values into it. After running, you will only get y value, so which is of a single dimension, of a single value rather. After running the file, you will get something that model.predict stuff, which is a kind of this sort of list. I'll show you. This just one written on the last. That is the value of prediction. So first one for the first part and second one for the second part. And rather than going for model.predict underscore classes, you better should go for model.predict, not predict classes.
It's showing one
It's
here.
showing one for predict classes. Don't go for predict classes. Go for predict. So just clean up the sequence. It says 0.77 and 0.55. Well, let's wait for Raghunathan as well to get the value. Raghunathan, how long will it take?
Hello.
Yes, Raghunathan, how long will it take?
Yes, yes, correct. Once.
Sorry, I didn't heard you.
Sir, I share a screenshot. One second, sir. I had a mistake.
Yeah, share that. No worries. I didn't get your screen yet.
Sir, I am using a phone, sir. 1 second, sir. I am taking a screenshot on my laptop.
Send an image.
Sir, I have a mistake that there is no outcome. I have.
I am just looking at that. What you are looking at? Okay, so why are you doing XY split? There is no X, no Y. Whole of the data is X itself. There is nothing like Y. There is nothing like train or test. They are like the data is of only two rows. How can you go for train, test, X, Y, all that? You cannot. So this is the value. I'll just code it. Raghunathan data value. I'll just write it like this. So Mehak, what you need to do meanwhile is the data you shared, your transfer.csv, not this one, the existing one which you gave to Raghunathan. Just run your model on that as well. Okay, your model, not Raghunathan model. Now what you did, you took Raghunathan's model and Raghunathan's data and gave the output of 0.77. Now you run your model and on your data, and by data I mean these two rows which you shared. So your model and your on your data, and tell me what will be the output. I hope you understand the question. You understood the question, or is there any kind of doubt into it?
Yeah, you need the two values, right?
Yeah, I need your value on your system and your data and models value in Raghunathan's system. So meanwhile he is doing, you should better do it by for your own as well. So whatever Raghunathan will give the value, we'll compare it with your value. So we'll basically looking at that whether they are same or not. They should come same. That is the ideal agenda of us. Okay, so this is from your model itself.
Yes.
Okay, Raghunathan, I didn't get even a single value from you. Make it fast. What's going on? Show me your screen. Share me your screen first.
I'm just using a phone, sir. I have 1 second, sir. 1 second, sir. I'm not understanding what you are telling.
Then why are you not asking it? Share me your screen. We'll go it alongside. Okay, I'll share my screen. My screen, I guess, is already shared. And what I'll be doing is, instead of you, I'll be working right here. So I'll be downloading the file sent by Mehak and the model sent by Mehak. So this one, I'll just save it on desktop, transfer.csv. And where is your model? This one. He's on mute. Fine. Now I'll go to my desktop. I'll make a Python file right here. Okay, neural network.py. Into it, I firstly would be going to load my data. Okay, so df would be pd.read csv. Name of the file is transfer.csv, I guess. Yes, it is. Now what else I'll be going to do? I'll be loading my model. So from keras.models import load model. Model is equals to load model save.h5p5. Right name. Okay, so now what I need to do, model.predict df, and I need to print that. Simple task. I hope it will work. Something wrong? Okay, so something wrong with the input and all that stuff. My data is supposed to be on 8, like having 8 inputs, but right here I am getting how many inputs? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 9. Fine. So what I need to do is I need to move it a bit more ahead. And what about my earlier data? Okay, actually your data is like messed up, man. The data is not as it should be. I'll just show you why I'm saying this. So these columns are actually ID column. Let's delete them. Saving the file and running that again. Fine, it works now. So my model so your model in my case gave the value 0.4590 and 0.071. Looking at your value, I don't think that they are all same. No, they are not same. Why so? Are you running on your model or on Raghunathan's model? Which one are you running on?
I'm running on my model.
Then how can it give different values? I'll be sharing you the model and the code and the data, whole of the things. Save that at one place and run that. Not this, this one. Save all 3 of them at one place and run this nn.py file. Are you able to run this?
Just
So what is the output?
just a second.
Oh, okay, okay. I thought yes. I heard like it. Yes. Sorry.
Yeah, it's given the same values now.
Which value? Mine or yours?
Um,
Can you type it there, like here? 0.45, 0.07. This is the same like as right here. So might be something wrong. You might have chosen wrong data type or wrong formatting of data, or something you scaled it up or so, and there could be that you have chosen actually the wrong model. So whatever way, what I want to show right here is that when you work on one system or another system or any other system, you just need to train the model and save it. Then it will give same results on one data on different models. So if you are having a data, it will give consistent results into it, no matter whichever system you are using. Okay, so this particular thing is also known as model serving. So you are saving the data and making it available for to be used. How to be used, that is another different step, that you can make it an Android into an Android app or into a website or what, however way. But this is one of the way that you need to train your model, save it, and make it available to be used for whatsoever data you want to. Okay, so this was the basic agenda for today's class. We discussed on the major side, we discussed about activation functions. We talked about all the activation functions and what are their graphs look like, what are their possible values, and why they are used for their advantages and disadvantages and all that. Then on the second part, we have talked about this particular model saving architecture, that how to save the model and how to make it available for the next use, and particularly why to save the model. So model saving is basically a very much required thing when you work on good amount of data and good amount of model architecture, and which will be the case almost every time when you work on commercial set. So your model will take at least more than 1 hour or 2 hours or so, and then you will find the need of model saving must. It is very much required. So any doubts into this by any one of you, Mehek, Raghunathan? I hope Raghunathan it will be sorted soon and you will be able to do that. But for now, any doubt into that? I have shown you although that what you need to do in order to get it done. No response, at least yes, no, anything? Any doubt from your side? If no,
no,
at least go for no. You have done, that's great. So just send me the value right here. So I hope there will not be any kind of doubt. If still you have any sort of doubt, you can ask it right here, or you can just communicate to me once the class will be over. You can refer the video for refreshing the concept, and still if the doubt persists, you can still contact me on WhatsApp or on Skype or however you want to be. Okay, and you give the value 0.45, 0.07. This is the same value which all of us have achieved. Even Mehak achieved same, even Raghunathan achieved the same, and even I have achieved the same value, 0.45 and 0.07 right here. So this is what the purpose of today's class. Into the next class. So now let's see what all we are able to do. We are now able to load the data. We are now able to write the basic neural network.
Hello,
Yes, Raghunathan.
sir. After at a last, it's different, sir. For a last four digit difference, may it considered or not?
45909593. Third is not much considerable, 9637. So mine and Mehak turn out to be the same, and yours is a bit different, even on the second one as well. Might be something wrong, might be you have limited your processing that will not go beyond that, or rounding off or something like that. Might be the architecture you're using is 32-bit or 64-bit, that might impact it in a minimalistic way. Okay, so right now what we are able to do is that we are able to load the data, we are able to write a basic neural network at least, okay, into different layers. We know what are layers, what is neuron, what is synapse, what is all that activation function, different sort of activation function, what is optimization, why to use that, how to do that, and all that. Okay, what is model compiling, model.add, model.fit, model.predict, model.evaluate, we know all of that thing. Okay, now we also know about how to save the model. We know about different sort of activation functions which we discussed today. So our later part in is to basically dive into different sort of neural networks. So we know now the ultimate theory behind the neural networks going on. So now our task would be to learn the pre-packed neural networks of advanced layers such like CNN, RNN, LSTM, and all that kind of pre-compiled neural networks. So what do I mean by pre-compiled? That the layer would come pre-compiled to you, just like a dense layer. We'll be using different kind of layers now. That is what our next task would be. So with that different kind of layers, we'll be not using fully connected neural network, we'll be using partially connected neural network, or some connected neural network in some different way, and that will be our next agenda, to dive into different neural networks. See you then in the next classes, and by that time, take care, have safe days and nights. Okay, bye bye. If still you will be having any doubt, you can still ask me right there. And make sure to follow us on social handles, and there you'll get some or the other updates about a lot of information, facts regarding machine learning, deep learning, and all that other stuff, or in general about computers and the IT world, and the course announcements and all that stuff would also be provided there. Sure then, take care, bye bye.